What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Toshi today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are at 0.0003938 right now. Toshi had a good day to start at least. You know, it was up a good bit. We're wicking right now. It's not the best way to finish the day. We do have 9 hours left. A lot of that can come back. Don't get me wrong. We could even close higher than this by the end of the day. It's very possible. But looking at it on the 1 hour time frame, to me, I would normally be excited about something like this. I think that it looks nice because you're finding support at these same areas. But here, what you're doing differently than what you did over here and over here is that you're pulling back. You know what I mean? You're actually pulling back down already, and you have 15 seconds left in this 1 hour time frame. So you probably do pull back a little bit more from here. I would think from a low to a high, if we're measuring this, you're at your golden ratio. You're probably going to go a little bit lower. I would think at least 30798 to 3072, somewhere in that area. If that doesn't hold, we'll see you down at 3034 to 0.000319, right? When I say 3 zeros, that's what I mean, like 0.000. If we look at this on a daily time frame, maybe a 4 hour time frame. Let's put some lines back here on the 1272. On the 1618. I mean, that 1618 comes in very well at these lows, that 1272 at this low and these highs here. I'm pretty inclined to say, Toshi, as close as you are to your low, you might not be at it just yet, right? We were thinking this was a good low here to find. You were finding support at prior areas of resistance, prior areas of support as well. You did not find support there. This seems to be the next logical area. I mean, you could have found support here. It's possible. It could have been here. But what's the significance in the price? Nothing really. Nothing at all. If we take this very significant pivot here from a low to a high, you're actually finding support around the golden ratio, to be fair, but you haven't quite interacted with it. And then this golden ratio here, it's kind of in between this golden ratio and the 1886. Kind of obscure, but that's what you get with these new coins, right? Like it's brand new. Oftentimes with these brand new coins, you will see either that they find support right at the top of their prior resistance areas, or they go all the way down, man. And maybe when I say all the way down, I would say even this is something to consider down here, all the way down near that 2272 at 3022944. And that kind of drop, let's just see what we're dealing with here, right? I don't think you go down there, but it's possible. It's something you should consider, right? Let's see. I would think anything from a 13% to a 17% move down, 18% move down would be possible right now at 308932. Again, anything from actually I would say 11% to 18% move would be possible. At the most extreme, perhaps 44%, maybe 40%, something like that could happen. And that would not be encouraging. You definitely have a lot more to go. If something like that were to happen, I just think it would take a little bit more time, and that's fine if it does. I mean, maybe Toshi keeps moving down for the next week or so. It's possible. Anything can happen. But my money, if I had to guess, I would say it's that you're going to go somewhere between 30343 to 3032, somewhere in that area, somewhere between this area of support, this area of resistance, and then these areas of support here. I really do like the idea of going to this golden ratio, the relative one here, from a low to a high, and that would be at 0.00032 essentially, so just below there. But that's where I think you'll go. When it does come time to moving up higher, we can talk about that, because I do believe you're getting to the end of this downtrend. Looking at the daily RSI, you are oversold. Okay. And you can get more oversold, of course you can. I mean, you could go all the way to zero if you really want to, but that's about as far as it goes. Oftentimes you don't see things get too far below the 20, but that might be exactly what you're doing. That might be something that you're going for, is a read just below the 20 there. I doubt that you go to the 10, but you know, sometimes in very weak situations that's what happens. But this seems to be a rather comprised phase of consolidation. You moved up at a very rapid pace, and you've taken, it seems, about twice as much time, if not more, moving down here. In fact, I'm kind of curious, just for curiosity's sake, how long did it take to move up? 12 days. You've definitely been moving down for longer than that. It's been, yeah, man. So almost 4 times that amount. you're probably going to come to an end at some point, right? And it's very clear which direction you like to move faster. It's to the upside. It's very clear at which direction the volume is not coming in and people are not interested, right? You just got to wait for the right area of liquidity to come in, for volume to come back in, for interest to come back in. Whenever patterns, whenever consolidation phases see very low levels of volume, that tends to suggest that you are at the end of it, or that you're near the end of it. But just because of that, just because we have those readings here, doesn't mean it has to be today, doesn't mean it has to be tomorrow, but it could. Just sometime soon is what I would think. Sometime probably within the next week, I would assume you're at your low. If not, maybe at the most like within the next 2 weeks, but certainly by the end of March. And I would expect when Toshi finds its low, if we saw how fast it moved up last time, right? It moved up. It only took from this low 1, 2, 3 days, and it moved up. It did a 7x. I would assume that even if it took 2 weeks from now, which 14 days plus 8, because it's the 8th of March, that would be the 22nd. I mean, that's definitely more than enough time for this thing to move up back to its all-time highs by the end of March. It definitely could happen. I'm not saying that it will. I actually don't anticipate that when you bounce from here, I don't anticipate that you'll move up at the same pace. I would anticipate it's a little bit slower. You'll probably find resistance at key areas of resistance where you found resistance before or support before. You'll pull back. You'll methodically move your way up, and then as you get to these higher zones, that's when you can start to expect a more rapid move continuing. So I would think maybe end of March, you're near your highs, but not above your highs. And then going into April, end of April, you'll likely see prices that are higher at new all-time highs, right? And those targets, it's actually not appropriate really to guess where that's going to be right now, because from a high to a low, we don't actually have the low. I think that we're going to go lower, right? Let me just confirm that. I mean, the 4-hour RSI would suggest that you're going lower. It would, and the 1 hour definitely would. So yeah, I'm fairly positive that you will. You've been consolidating here for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now. I don't think that you consolidate. Like if you're going to find support, look, that's what you did. It was 1 day. That's what you did there, right? You find resistance. You're not consolidating in this area. Sometimes you can linger in an area and still find support in that area, or find resistance in that area, but oftentimes it's not this kind of way that you find support. So I would think that you do go lower, and if you do go lower, these fib targets are going to change, right? It's very specific, so it's not really appropriate to gauge where the highs are going to be. But just from this, if you look at the 1272, it's at 20389. If I move this down at all, that number goes up. So just assume that these numbers, these predictions will be off, probably to the downside, okay? The minimum target area from here would be at the 1272, and that already is a 10x. So when it comes time, whenever it comes time, I don't think I need to do anything else, because again, it's probably not appropriate to guess how high or where specifically this thing's going to go, but I think it is appropriate to assume when it comes time, Toshi will likely see a 10x or more. It'll probably see, and that's, of course it would. It's a meme coin, and it's actually got a lot of volume. It's got a lot of volume even at these low volume times. Don't get me wrong, it's not the most volume that you've ever seen, but something like this, 23 million on a $158 million market cap, that's not bad. It's not like desirable necessarily, but it's like the standard. It's a good minimum, I think. Nothing to be concerned about, and you're at low levels of volume anyway. So when that volume really does come back in, you're gonna move up with ease. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think initially that, like, from this area, because from here last time it took you 3 days. I don't think it's going to take you 3 days to do it again. I think it might take you a couple weeks, and then once you move, once you're at the high areas, that's whenever it'll take 3 days or 4 days, or you'll have your blow off top that takes you to your next high, which is going to be, again, more than a 10x from here. How much more? I don't know. It could be a 20x, it could be a 30x, maybe it's specifically a 10x and then you stop there. I don't know, but those are my words. That's my best guess, I suppose. I've got nothing else to say. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We'll be keeping an eye on Toshi. It's just been rather boring over the past 5 days. I did want to talk about it last night because it was moving up, but I didn't have enough time. It's probably good we waited, because it definitely looked bullish. That's a nice bit of volume there, guys. That would have been rather suggestive that you could move up. But all you're doing here is you're just finding a lower high in a series of lower highs, right? It's just another lower high. It's just another lower high, finding resistance at this area. Definitely rejected this area. So you're probably going to go down. And if I had to guess where that is, at least a little bit lower, at least right there. But to me, it would make more sense to go even lower than that and probably find support at this area around 3032, somewhere around there. 3032, 3035, somewhere in that area. That's where you're going to find support. You're at 30389 now. I'll see you on the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.